to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today we're going to make a snowman wreath, and a snowman wreath is great for all winter long, not just Christmas time. So I'm going to show you step by step how I do this. I'm also going to show you the different products I use. I'm going to leave a list in the description box below. Go all the way down and you will find the supply list right there. But I'm going to start off with the Deco mesh and cutting it. I'm going to have 3 rolls of this 10 by 10 inch Deco mesh. You can order this online. You can get this at Hobby Lobby and maybe like Joann's or Michael's, but I do use the 10 inch rolls. So I'm going to have 3 rolls. I'm going to only cut 2 because I'm only going to need a little bit, I believe, of that 3rd roll. So I don't want to cut extra if I don't have to. So what I like to do, and this is not something you have to do, but I like to use a wood burner just because it helps reduce the amount of fraying. So I just wanted to show you this step. I do wear a mask when I cut. I use one of these little masks that I got from Amazon, and I'll be sure to add this to my Amazon store. But you're just going to take a wood burner, and this is what I have. There's no special setting on it or anything, but you can kind of see the, if you can see that tip that I use. So I'm going to cut this at 14 inches long. So this is the 10 inch rolls, and we're going to cut this at 14 inches. And I'm going to do my best to just go in between the lines of the mesh. If you go outside the lines, it's really okay, but I try to follow that as much as possible. But I am cutting this on a glass cutting board, and again, this is in my Amazon store, and I will leave that linked below. You can get all the things that I use in making my wreaths. You can purchase it from there. It costs nothing extra for you to use that link, but it does give me just a small commission on it. So it helps me make more videos so I can have the money to get the supplies and everything. So you're just going to cut these at 14 inches, and I will be back and we'll show you what we're going to do with these to start our project. So I have all of my mesh cut up, and the next step that I generally do is I make my poofs, is what I use for my method, and then I will put it together on a wreath form. So I take my piece of 14-inch mesh, this is cut at 14 inches, and you're going to take the curl side up, and what I do is I just kind of roll this a little bit inward so that it's touching the mesh, and then I just start to ruffle, and then when I get close to the other side, I'm going to roll it in as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is that it will kind of reduce the amount of fraying. So I typically will just hold it with my hand, but I will show you in a moment what else you can do. So I'm going to do the same method, and I'm just going to roll and ruffle it. And then what I do is I take it and I go over top of each other. So you've got 1 and then 2. And then I have a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to connect these 2 like this. And you could do this for just a regular curl method wreath. And I make a poof. And so that is my poof that we will use to put around the frame. Let me show it to you one more time. So I'm going to just take it and I'm going to roll it in and start to ruffle, take the other side and roll it in a little bit, and then grab it there. So if you have a hard time holding it all, you can just take like a little clothespin, chip clip, or any of those things, and just have it hold it right there for you. Okay, and so then you're going to take the second one, take that off, and you're going to just lay it kind of like an X almost, okay? So you've got one going this way and one going that way. You're going to take your pipe cleaner and go in the middle, and I just use a whole pipe cleaner because I kind of feel like it's easier to put on. So what I tend to do is I will just kind of do this. I will hold my ruffle up like that, and then I will just twist it, okay? And then that's what you will use to attach to the wreath frame. So what I'll do is I will do all of this, and we will come back and we will make the base of our wreath. Okay, so I have all of my puffs made with the 2 rolls that I previously cut. And I know this might surprise you, but I only use an 8-inch wire wreath frame. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, AC Moore. Any craft store should have an 8-inch wreath frame. I purchased mine from consumercrafts.com, and I also have gotten them from Amazon, and again, they're in my Amazon store. So what I do first, and the reason why I should say I use an 8-inch frame is by the time you get all the mesh on it, you get a top hat, you get the scarf, it's a really pretty decent sized wreath, okay? So I'm just going to take one of the pipe cleaners, and we're just going to kind of develop a cross method here in the middle of the frame, okay? So I'm just going to twist these together, and I'll show this to you here. So that way we created a line going from here to here. So now we're going to do one going across it. So I'm going to just go again. And if you want to use a piece of plastic grid, you can do that too. This is just what I use, and I just find it easy. So why not keep doing what I do? Okay, so I've got that attached. So what I do basically is the first place I put one of my poofs, is what I call it, I'm just going to put it right in the middle there. And you can, like I said before, you can use a half of these pipe cleaners, but I do find that when you do that, it just gives you less to work with, and it's can be a little bit cumbersome to only deal with one. So I have one in the middle. So now I'm going to put one on each of these white bars. Okay, so we're going to put 4 on. Kind of halfway, okay? And we just want to fill this up so we have a nice base for our snowman. So like right here, you can see there's a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to push it a little bit closer to the middle. And what you can also do is I will twist all of these ties together when I get several on, and then take my wire cutters here that I love. There we go. It's a little bit harder to cut that many at once. And then I just bend it underneath, okay? So nothing sharp is hanging out there. So I think you can kind of get, excuse me, the base of what we're doing. So I didn't put one on this one, so I need to put one more. And like I said, you could use this method and just go around the wreath frame itself. Maybe you have a picture of a snowman that you'd want to put in, maybe a picture of Santa. I've done that before. And you can easily make that work. I love how Deco mesh just sticks to each other. Okay, so we've got the center done. So now that we have this done, I'm going to focus on the middles of the next bracket. So I usually take 2 of these brackets together. I don't just do one single bracket. I like to have my poof go around 2 of them. I just feel like it's a little bit more secure that way. So I'm just going to pull this up and kind of show you. And I'm going to pull it so that that middle where we tied it is going to be nice and tight, and it's going to just be a lot more secure. So I'm going to do one over here. And there's just no rhyme or reason. You're just going to keep doing this till it's all full. By the time you get to the outside of the wreath frame, this one here, I will tell you that I'll put one here, and then I'll put 2 poofs in between the brackets. So you'll have 1, and then 2. And you're just going to keep going. So what I'll do is I will come back when I'm almost finished with this, when I have just a few more to do on the outside, and then I can just show you the placements I put. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly the way I'm doing it. You're just wanting a nice full base. You don't want to be able to see the frame. That's all that matters. So hold on, I'll be back in a little bit. So I'm back, and I was actually able to do this all with just 2 rolls. Sometimes I've had to use 3. I think it just depends on where you put the placement of your poofs. I think if my math is correct, I'd use 25 sets of these poofs. So I'm going to kind of just explain where we put them. So we put 5 in the center, we put 1 directly in the center, and then 1 on each of the bars, the white bars, okay? So that's your first 5. And then we put 1 at each bracket here, and then we put it in between the brackets. So that's another 8 right there. So now we're going to work on the outside of the wreath frame. And so you would put 1 at each bracket, so that's 4 more, and then 2 within each bracket, which is 8 more. So I think my math is correct. If it's not, you can leave me a comment below. But I'm down to my last 2 petals or poofs, and I just want to show you what I do. I'm going to put 1 here in between the brackets, and then, and this kind of comes up this way, but that's okay. Because when we hang him or her or whatever you want to make your snowman on the door, this will, you know, it'll lay like this. So I'm going to do where the bracket is. And I take my zip tie, not my zip tie, my pipe cleaner, people, my pipe cleaner. I use zip ties too much. And at this point, it gets a little hard to deal with because you've got so much. But I'm going to take this pipe cleaner and I'm going to wrap it around that frame before I tighten it. And I only do that just to kind of give it a little bit more security so that it's not going to slide around on me. And then I'll just twist these together and then just cut them. And then I just kind of fold them under. So that is the base for your snowman, and I think it's pretty cute. Just this on an 8-inch wreath form is, let's see, it's about 19 inches in diameter, and you're looking at least 9 inches deep for this. So I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to start showing you how I cut out the mouth and the eyes and how we're going to attach them. So I'll be right back. Here is what we're going to do for our eyes. And I do it this way, but you do not have to do it the way I do it because this is a tool, and if anybody was in the scrapbooking craze, that was a few years ago, and some do still do it. This is a puncher from Stampin' Up. And this is the only brand that I have found that punches through this like thick, stiff felt good enough. I've literally bought several of these, like from the local stores, and haven't been able to find them. I ended up finding this one on eBay, and it was a used one, but I'm glad I bought it because now I have it. It just makes it a little bit easier. But my point is you don't have to use this, okay? And most of you will not have one of these, and that's all right. This is my tip for you. You could get, I'm going to grab this. This is kind of a good, this is just a water bottle lid that I have. You could take this. Hopefully my chalk pen will work for me here. I don't know, it might be dried out. I think it's going to be dried out, yeah. It's been a while since I've used this. So what I would do before I got this little machine here is I would take my chalk pen and I would just draw on the tip of like a medicine cap or like this lid, like a milk jug lid would even work. And then I would just go like this on to my felt, and I would cut it out with my just little really nice scissors. Again, these are on my Amazon store too. I love these things. But that's how I would cut them out. So I don't think that's going to work anymore, but we'll have it for later just in case. But since I am going to be using this, I'm just going to show you what I do really quick here. And I do have to put a little bit of wax paper, and I don't know why that is. But when I do use this, I have to do it. It is a 1 3/4 of an inch hole punch. Ugh, I have to press down pretty good. But then it gives me just a really nice circle for my mouth and my eyes. But again, this one is just a tad smaller than this. So this is kind of like the size of a milk cap. But again, you could just put a little bit, even if you didn't have a chalk pen, you could use maybe a marker or something that would show up on the black, or chalk, just regular chalk, and you would just dab it on here, and then you would see the little white lines, and then you would just cut it out. So I will be right back. I'm going to cut out 7 of these, 5 for the mouth and 2 for the eyes, and then we'll put it together and let them dry and show you how we'll be able to put them on our wreath. Alright, so I have all of my little black circles cut, and I do want to say, if you have, for instance, if you do have one of these punches and you can make it work, I did put it on each side, the wax paper. I'm not really sure why that makes it cut better, but it was a tip from a good friend that does scrapbooking and card making. So, and this is just that stuff felt you can find in the felt section at your local craft store. So let's get on to how are we going to attach these to our wreath. So you're just going to take some scrap felt. You could even take some of that, the stiffer one, but this is just the fabric felt that I have on hand. And I just like to lay these out. And what we're going to do is we are going to add a little bit of glue in the middle here. So do a couple of these. You can kind of see what I'm doing. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the tip of my pipe cleaner right in that glue. Okay? And then I'm just going to take a piece of felt and lay over that. So it will dry nicely, and I'll have something that it adheres to. I would never recommend just putting glue on the back and not having something to cover it up. On any project that you're doing, you kind of need that backing. So that's what you're going to use. And so I will just do this. I will bend it when it's nice and dry, and I know it's not going to go anywhere. And that's how we are going to put our not our nose, but our eyes and our mouth into the wreath. So these just need a few minutes to dry. And then I will finish the rest of these, and we will work on the next step. So we have our mouth ready to go, and our eyes. We have, I want to show you the nose that I use and the hat that I use. Now, I have another video on YouTube showing you how I actually sew these two. But there are other videos out there. My friend Michelle Noble of A Noble Touch, she does a snowman wreath, and she does a nose with rope and I believe aluminum foil, and you could use that, or if you have something that you already have in mind, go ahead and use that. But I'm going to leave the link below, and I show you how you can sew one of these black felt hats. It's very simple. For the record, I am not a seamstress at all, so if I can do this and you have a sewing machine, you can definitely do this. And I show you how to put like a pick in the bow. And I will also leave the link for the bow making video that I put out about a month or two ago. And it has, and I use this on a pro bow, and I show you how I make the bow for my snowman. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my nose, and I'm going to just take a pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to run it through the burlap here, okay? So that's all I'm going to do. So that's what's going to connect. So at this point, I kind of like to stand up and see where the best points where we're going to put our hat. You know, you might have a side that, oh, I don't like this side as much, and just kind of decide from there. So I'm going to put my nose like right in the middle here. And you're just going to attach it to that white pipe cleaner that we made, that cross section there. And you're just going to twist it, okay? So there is the nose. Okay, and you're just going to, you know, move the mesh around as much as you want to make it look the right way, okay? So at this point, I'm going to start doing my eyes. And the reason why I do it this way is because it gives us the opportunity to move the eyes around and the mouth around. And I used to glue these on, and you can still do that. If you just want to use hot glue and glue them on, you go ahead and do that. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down. And then I'm going to attach it. I'm just going to run it, because we just have one end, we're just going to run it around the frame like this, and this isn't going to go anywhere. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one eye here, and then we're going to do 5 here. I always start in the center here and then put 2 around it. So I'll be right back with my eyes and my mouth on. Be right back. Okay, so now I have the eyes and the mouth in the way I want it. And what's nice about being able to put them on the long stems is you can move, you can move the mouth around and make sure that you have it the way you want it. So next, I usually put up the hat. So what I do is I find out, let's see, I want to put the hat about right here, and you can't really see it. I usually do an angle of the hat. That's just what I like to do. So I like to turn it around. And I also want to tell you there are bags that I stuff into my hat to help it stand up, and so that if it gets wet, it'll be all right. So I'm just going to look here. Let's see, we're going to be about right here. So I'm just going to kind of hold it, and I kind of stuff some of the curls into that hat. And what I do is I'm going to take a black zip tie. You can see it here, and I'm going to put 2 holes in my hat brim. I'm going to take my zip tie and go through the wreath frame itself, and hopefully I can find my holes. Sometimes what happens is, because it's black fabric, it's hard to see that hole. So I'm going to make another hole here because I can't see it. Okay, here we go. There's one hole. And then I'm going to put the next hole in. Okay? And then I'm not going to secure this too tightly, because we want the hat to sit on the wreath the right way. So then I put one here, and I'm going to put one up here. All right? So I will finish putting this one on, and then I will come back and I will show you the scarf that we're going to do. All right, so you can see that I have the hat on. I just attached it like I showed you. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of pull down on the hat, and that Deco mesh really kind of grips that felt. So that just kind of helps hold it in place for you. And so what we're going to do next is, and I'm doing like a turquoise themed snowman, because my client wants it for after Christmas, so she doesn't want it too much of a Christmassy look. So I'm going to use this mesh that I have on hand. It's just a 10-inch, it's just a 10-inch snowball mesh, and I'm going to make a nice cut because there's a little bit of a fray. Let me see here. I'm going to find my, just going to cut that. Get that out of the way. So what you're going to do is you're going to find, all right, so you're going to start your scarf on about this side. And the reason why I say that is you want it to kind of line up with the mouth a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mesh and I'm just going to gather it up, okay? I'm not going to make a cut yet because I'm not sure exactly how much or how long I need it to be. So as I turn it around, I kind of keep my hand where I want it to attach. And all I do is I take that gathered part there, and I'm just going to run a zip tie underneath the frame so that we can attach this to the frame itself. All right. Okay. So, and this Deco mesh, let me tell you what else you can use. I've used the 12-inch burlap. Usually that's what my wreaths for the snowman look like, and I will leave a picture of it at the end of this video. And I just kind of bring it around. And we want it to kind of end on this side of the mouth. So I'm going to keep going. All right. And you want to kind of use the mesh to kind of, to have it the way you want it, I guess. Just, it kind of snags on itself, and so it kind of attaches to it. It's just kind of what Deco mesh does. So I'm going to just take another zip tie and connect it this way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make a cut there. And my scissors. Don't cut the wrong one. This white mesh wants to get in the way. There we go. So, alrighty, I don't know. I almost wondering if I want to do another. Let's just look and see what this looks like. I might add an extra layer just because, yep, we're going to add an extra layer. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I can see through this mesh. And I just want it to have a nice, I want that turquoise to really pop. So, not a big deal. We're just going to connect it where we did the other one. So if you're doing a mesh instead of like a poly burlap or a regular burlap, then I would probably just double up on it. Here, okay. And this stuff sticks to your sweaters, and so you're being warned. This stuff sticks to a lot of things. So I just kind of like the way that that's a little bit darker now of a look, and I think you would like that too. All right, so we're going to cut this with another zip tie, and I have these in my Amazon store as well. I buy zip ties at like 1,000 zip ties at a time because I go through them so quickly. Okay, so now we're going to make the bow, and then we'll add the back and a little hanger for our wreath. And he will be ready to go. So let's turn him over. Yeah, I already like that a lot better. Just kind of feel like it, the nose and the mouth gets messed up a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna fix that in a moment. Okay, so let's just put him to the side. And let's make a bow. So I need a straight edge here. And you could use your wood burner if you wanted to do that for this, but I don't tend to on this part. And if you don't want to use a wood burner for the base of the snowman, that's okay too. It will be just fine. You can get away with it. And the fact that we kind of curl under the white part, it does help eliminate a little bit of that. So mesh is a little bit trickier to deal with. So I'm just going to tell you, this bow is going to be a little bit harder to do than with the burlap I tend to use. So I'm just going to take, let's see here, how much do I got? I'm going to take about 20 inches. Let me see, is that right? No. About 25 inches from my hand to the end here. And I'm going to gather it at a good spot. And then we need to flip it over. I'm going to gather it too. This is kind of the same concept that I do when I make my bows that I've showed you before, but it's kind of hard to show you right now. So I'm just going to kind of, let's see, put that there and try to make it about the same as far as the cut. And I know this is not that exciting or like, Julie, I can't see it all, but what I'll do is I'll show you in a moment with like ribbon what I'm doing. So what I would do is just take a zip tie, not a zip tie, I'm sorry, pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to put it in the middle there. So when you're making a bow with the Deco mesh, it's just harder to deal with. I'm just going to be honest with you. So this isn't going to be, you know, maybe as cute as my burlap bows, but that's all right. It's just really curly, and so what I'm going to do is I usually take a piece of this ribbon that I use for the hat. I will put it on the scarf to kind of just bring it in all together. So you're just going to put it around here. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate on ribbon what I did here, just to be sure that you understand and you don't get confused, okay? So here's our little bow. It's not that bad, it's just a little curly. So we want it to be right here. I'm gonna sit down because my back is hurting. So all you're gonna do is you're going to connect it. Turn it over again. Remember where we put this zip tie for the other wreath or the other scarf part? We're just going to connect this right here and we're going to twist it. Okay? So that will be where our bow is. So really quick here, let's go ahead and put the back of our wreath on, and I'll show you, you know, what are they going to hang it from? What is your customer, where are you going to hang it from? So what I do is I take a pipe cleaner, still in the bag, so that's what's being so noisy right now, sorry. And I'm going to turn this around and look at it. Yeah, I want it to be about right here, okay? So I'm going to run the pipe cleaner through that part, and then I'm going to kind of form a loop, like right there. And I'm going to go underneath the frame and back over it. And I'm going to wrap this one around the top of the frame and back underneath of it. Okay? So you've got that loop formed, and you can do this on all sorts of wreaths. And then you're just going to tie it, okay? So that is going to be the loop that you're going to hang your wreath from. So what I do is I always cut out pieces of felt for the backs of my wreaths. And so when it comes to, let's see, this wreath, I kind of just lay it in there, and it does have a scalloped edge because I use a rotary cutter that has like this wavy edge, and I don't know where it is right now, but it's in, I believe it's in my Amazon store. I just think it adds a little touch of cuteness or whatever you want to call it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 holes in, and I'm just going to attach my zip ties, my little 4-inch zip ties here. So like here I would do 2 up here, and then I'll do 2 down here, and then I'll get some here and a couple here. And then that way the back will be attached and you won't see any of that because we don't want to show any of that. We want that to be covered up. So I will be right back and we will finish off our wreath. All right, so I put the back on our cute little snowman here. As you can see, the bow's to the side. It's still super cute. Once you have it hung up, you'll see it a little bit better, I'm sure. I'm glad I doubled up on the mesh because I just feel like it just needed a little bit more of substance because of the material. You could see through it, and I didn't really want that to happen. Again, if you want to take your hat and put it on top, go ahead, make it your own. I will leave the link in the description for 2 videos of mine for the hat and the nose if you want to learn how to sew them yourself, and the video for the bow making if you have a pro bow. If not, I have the pro bow in my Amazon store. I know you're probably tired of me talking about that, but I get questions a lot about where did you get this and where did you get that, and it's just kind of a helpful thing to be able to offer you all. Also, if you love this snowman and you were able to bear with me and watch it through the whole thing, leave me a snowman emoji or something like that, or maybe a snowflake if you can. And let me know if there's other projects that you'd like me to do. I did this on a live on Facebook a long time ago, but the internet connection was so bad, it just did not load well. So I'm glad I could show this to you tonight. If you have any other ideas of other projects you'd like to see me make, comment down below. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you next time in the bow tie. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I was upstairs. I know I just said I was done with the video, but I was upstairs editing the video, and I forgot to kind of show you the simple way I was doing that bow, because it was a little hard to see when I was making it. So you would just take, we're going to pretend that this is the mesh. I'm going to get a better, cleaner cut here. And so you're just going to take it, and I've shown this before, you're just going to make one loop. So you're going to have a tail here, okay? And then you're just going to come back and make another loop. Okay, do you see that? All right, so that you have two tails. And I'm just going to gather that in the middle. So that's all I did with the mesh. All right, so it's very simple. And then I just took a pipe cleaner and just twisted it, and then I put a little piece of ribbon around it and twisted it again. I'll show that to you really quick here. So I would just take a piece and wrap it around that in the front of the bow there, and then lay one side over each other, and then just tighten that again. And there you go, you got a cute little bow. It doesn't take a lot to make something really cute. But this is the same process I made using the bow for the snowman. So I just wanted to show you real quick, this is what his scarf looks like. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.